Okay, so here's my my most recent book talk, and this is our book talk on historical fiction. And this book, I wasn't real familiar with most of the books at the end of the chapter, but this was one that I remember reading in about 7th grade, and I don't think at the time I really realized what I should have been getting out of it. So anyways, I went through it again, and this is definitely a book I'm going to have my son read. I'm trying to get him to read more. And although this book starts off a little bit slow, once it gets to the middle, it's really fascinating, and it does an incredible job of getting you to kind of empathize with the characters in here. And so this book is a Newbery Medal winner. It's by Christopher Paul Curtis, who wrote Elijah of Buxton, which I hadn't read, so the ending is a little bit different, but it's set, you know, in the slightly after the Civil War, in a city in Ontario called Buxton. And the boys don't necessarily know each other for the first part of the book, but they live near each other, and their fates are sort of intertwined. Red, the little boy, he's an Irish redheaded kid who has a grandma that's Grandma Mrs. O'Toole. She's racist, and she was a survivor of the potato famine in Ireland, and she migrated to Canada for a better life for her family. So she had been through some very traumatic times in the Great Famine in Ireland, and then around that time, post-slavery Civil War, Benji, the little African-American boy, and his family moved to Ontario as well. So what I liked about this book was it's a pretty long book, which there's a lot of time to spend to go through it for a book talk, but the writing by him is fascinating. It just kind of gets you to, he talks first person, and every other chapter kind of gets you through the eyes of Benji and Red. And there's a madman in the woods, like the Madman of Piney Woods, in the title, and they don't really, you know, sometimes you're kind of wondering if it's real or if it's their imaginations, but the boys play a lot based on their recent past, which would be the Civil War. And then at one point, about halfway through the book, they get their lives kind of intersect through this madman in Piney Woods. And he's an African-American that has a history of battle, and he's pretty dingy, lives in the woods, and he's kind of a mythical sort of a person in the neighborhoods, and in each neighborhood they call him something different. But so this is a great book. I think what this would teach kids in the middle school age is help you empathize with people who were different, even though one of them is pasty white and from Ireland, and the other one's family migrated up from the South post-Civil War, and their families had both been through some tough trials and tribulations. They realize that even though there's, you know, still racism around, that their friendship can be pretty special and powerful. So if this is a book you'd like to read, or you know somebody that would, I encourage you to tune in and read and stick with it. And, you know, is the madman in Piney Woods real, or is he just kind of a figment of their imaginations, like a mythical person? So hope that inspires you to maybe pick this book up and read it. I think there's a lot of lessons to be learned from all of us in this book.